up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
The aftermath of every social revolution brings about change. Cultural norms and landmarks shift as our minds and hearts expand beyond the familiar. To everything, there is a season and a time to every purpose in the land of the living. This is our time to renew, revive, and restore the hope lost to the busyness of life. This is our time to dig again and rebuild from the storms of our past on a solid footing that holds. Welcome to The Foundation.
The Foundation. Foundation.
The Foundation is brought to you by Bonneville Bones, Central Bank, Burger King, Commonwealth Bank, Alive, Atos Holding, Fidelity Bank Bahamas, and AML Foods Limited.
Foundation. The Foundation.
Down by the river, waiting for the good Lord to pass my way. Oh yeah, I'll be down by the river, singing songs of joy on this lovely day. Oh yeah, three singing birds told me by sunrise he's always there in the morning, praying and blessing the day. I've heard about this little tale long time ago.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. 96.9 FM radio, Howard Grant in your company, The Foundation, on this absolutely gorgeous Tuesday afternoon, live and in full effect here, being able to chop this thing down again. Grateful to be in your presence. I hope you guys are having a great day. Hope everything is laid out properly and you're doing well. I'm hoping you're one of the persons, I don't know whether or not you are, from a political standpoint, from a physical standpoint, spiritual or otherwise, if you are waiting by the river, talk to me. If you're in that kind of a space, you're here to be able to get that off your chest. Let's talk about it today. It's a beautiful day. Make sure you pick up the Guardian newspaper. All the information's in there. Yesterday, we started off this thing having great conversations about where we are in our country. I'm tipping toe into the taboo. I feel like it's the whole thing. I'm tipping toe into the taboo. I just want to do that. I think it's time for us to be able to, from a mature standpoint, no longer skirt around the elephant in the room. I think it's time to be able to look that thing in the eye, pull it by its tusks, and speak truth to power. It's time for us to do that. The line's going to be open today for you to be able to kind of contribute to that in one way or another. Let's do those things. Before we move further, I want to be able to shout out my good, decent people over at AFS Insurance Agents and Brokers. They are located at number 407 Blue Hill Road South. Got everything available for you. If you are even thinking about not only your insurance for your vehicle, your girlfriend vehicle, your wife vehicle. I don't know how y'all do your thing. Praise God. All right. However you're going to be able to do your thing, make sure you do that. If you are even thinking about that kind of a fleet, baby, I was thinking about something. What do you think we should do? Sell coconut water by the road or get some SDs? I'm sure that you're going to go with the latter. If you go with the latter and you decide to get yourself a few plates, because you can make some things happen. Go down to AFS Insurance Agents and Brokers. AFS Insurance Agents and Brokers. They got everything laid out for you. They can help you out as it relates to being able to do in-house financing. You can't fight this. You can't even beat this. in-house financing for all your vehicles. You don't have to come up with everything up front, but your vehicles will be taken care of. You want to be able to do that, give them a call at 341-1AFS, 341-1AFS. Ask for my good friend Ethric Bow. He'd be more than happy to assist you in those areas. Guys, it's a beautiful day. Make sure you pick up your Guardian newspaper. Like I said, you can see some stuff in the paper. We're talking about it today. The Prime Minister's out here again. Prime Minister, we are not privatizing BPL. I feel like an exclamation mark should be there. We are not privatizing BPL. Davis says strategic partners being brought in to fix BPL. I think we can avoid all of this, like this social speculation and the uproars with the two unions at BPL, if there was a sense of transparency, if there was accessibility, if there was information that was above board in terms of this kind of freedom of information. But, dare I say that, right? Dare I say that? Because I know that that's not necessarily enshrined within your organization. This transparency, being above board and providing information that all of us could understand where our government is going. I don't necessarily believe that this. Well, we understand this may be a philosophical difference between what our demands are, requirements are, and your position from a philosophical standpoint. I just want to be as decent as possible as I say these particular things. It's a beautiful day, and I want to talk about this. Yesterday, we had this kind of an introduction to the conversation about whether or not, this is speculation 101. This is where we are. We're not sure, so we assume. And that makes a donkey out of you and me, because we live in this kind of a space where we want information. We need to be able to access that thing, but we're not getting it. JoBeth Colby, in her particular capacity as Minister for Energy here in the country, has been unreachable. She has been. Okay? I tried to reach her. I don't even know if I tried to make a couple calls if she's even in country. I tried to reach her. I tried to send her a text, a voice note, just to see whether or not she can provide us with the same slideshow that the union members indicated that they saw on that Saturday. Let's talk about these things. Find out where we are for the purposes of none of us having to speculate about your administration. For no one having to come to be able to set me straight. If we could access the information and consume it, understand it, then we could be able to provide solid information to the Bahamian public. But we can't do that. Because this is where we are. In the papers today, Prime Minister Brave Davis said that his administration is not privatizing BPL, Bahamas Power and Light, but he failed to detail his plans for the beleaguered power provider. Anxiety amongst the BPL employees for the boiling point, and amid reports that their Davis administration plans to transfer the management of the transmission and distribution and generation of the electricity at BPL to private entities. Yesterday was speculation that it may be foreign entities. And I think it's time for the one thing I think former administrations have done. The one thing I think former administrations have done is they've tried their best to be able to move with a sense of transparency. They tried to present themselves accordingly. They tried to give this sort of an idea that we want to be as transparent and forthcoming with the Bahamian people. So the former administration, which was the Free National Movement, they did that. And it was sort of a breath of fresh air because a lot of things remained behind the thick curtain with the Christie administration. We didn't know exactly what was going on over at with China Construction America, with Bahama, with what was going on with the $3.5 billion. We were in the dark. We were speculating. We were hoping. We were waiting for information, all these things. It came out eventually, but we didn't know. Then the FNM came in and did their thing. Started to talk about this kind of an idea of being able to move towards freedom of information, started to take on this kind of position to say that, okay, are we going to have 2 terms for prime minister? This is what they said. This is their pronouncements. This is the difference between theory and practical. Historically in this country, every administration, when they sit in opposition, the government in waiting they theorize very well. They do very well. As it relates to what needs to happen, they can identify those things. They actually get up and go and support those persons against the government. My God. They will help you push down the fence. I can't even get no amen. They will help you in opposition to do these things. But as they step into governance, they forget about it entirely. The former prime minister made indications that he would find some way. Right? He made a commitment in one way or another on the campaign trail that we're going to move towards having confined or refined terms, specific terms, 2 terms for prime ministers. We never saw that. This administration came in, and at the top of it, if you remember that, free electricity. Wasn't it in the Tribune? You remember this? Was it in the Tribune? Free electricity. That's all we saw. We saw this. These are commitments made in theory as they ascend to a position of power. The ascension is not only to power, but it's an elevation beyond the people. I'm going to be decent as I say that. No one would pronounce it. No one will say, forget you. We're in power now. No one says that. But their actions show this to us on a consistent basis. And this has nothing to do with the PLP or the FNM. I suppose that we're dealing with the human being, the ways of a man. No matter how we push and try to keep men and women accountable prior to being able to step into governance, this is what we get. I don't know why. But this is what we get. I asked a former leader, I said, you got all these aspirations and you still want to be able to, you've done all these things, you've been through all this hell and done all these things and you still seek to get back in there. Do you think this is something, say Howard, and you won't get in there? I laugh and I laugh and I laugh. And then I realized that the human being, the human man, our mind, our body, our spirit, our existence is to be able to look forward and move forward towards something. I don't think that should be associated with some level of conniving. Y'all can kill me because it seems as though I'm naive the more and more I open up my mind. I'm naive to believe that men could stand in conviction. I'm naive. I have to be silly. It's an immature position that you've taken, Howard. You have to know that men lie. This is your position. Howard, we are men. We must lie. This is the position that people take. Howard, are you crazy? Who says that? Do you believe that these guys are going to be truthful and honest? Are you got to be crazy, Howard? Do you believe that these guys are not going in there to take care of themselves and to steal and to do this? You have got to be crazy. Howard, politics is not for you. That's why the fellas didn't want nothing to do with you. Because you seek to do things above board. They can't do nothing around you, as though every man has a desire to step into darkness. That cannot be. That cannot be. That cannot be. There has to be one man, an individual, someone with the conviction who is content in their position to step into power and get this thing right, to deal with anti-corruption, to be able to deal with the deliverables in terms of the commitment that they made to the Bahamian people, to get those things done. Don't have to lie and slide you $200 in your shirt. We don't have to try to drown you out with promises to say we can do this. There's got to be someone out there. It got to be leadership out there that could be able to stand on faith, stand on determination, look at the landscape of our country and make a determination, identify people with like-heartedness and move towards leadership. It got to be. Man, it got to be. I feel like it's like a soapbox. It have to be. We got to do better than this. How is it that we now are in the position that we have to go back to our prime minister to ask him, what is the detail? Because more than likely, this is where the devil resides. And our only desire is to flesh him out. That's it. We won't flesh the devil out. And he only exists within the details. That's it. BPL has not been performing the way that they can, the way that they should, with the talent that exists there. That's the human resource. But as it relates to the mechanisms that they use, the concepts associated with this sort of interception, this political interception from an administration standpoint, is going to always lead us to this position. Let's talk, man. Am I naive to believe that we could stand firm and say yea is yea and nay is nay to the Bahamian people? I got to be stupid. Am I? Is there anyone out there who is willing and able to be honest? Someone talk to me. The lines are going to be wide open. Please participate in the conversation. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, anywhere from the Family of Islands, 242-300, 5720, or you can hit me up on the text line 422-4796. Call on the line with us live. Go ahead. Go ahead, caller. Is that a call? Yeah, turn your radio down.
Hello.
Hey.
Yes, sir.
What's happening, my brother?
How you doing?
All is well.
Wonderful. My question is, you said you're looking for somebody to lead this country with character.
Upstanding.
Someone that has godly conscience.
Yes, upstanding.
Our opposition leader is right now on the ground and has put people on the ground to help with the crime situation, to help with the dire situation concerning a lot of people with home repairs, and is doing that right now. Mm-hmm. Have we given him a chance to actually go ahead and do so? Have we discredited him? And hasn't he stood up for us? As Bahamians, can we say he has stood up for us? Absolutely, he has.
In which way?
When Dr. Minnis hasn't stood up for us.
In which way has he stood up for us?
Michael Pintard has.
In which way?
My question to you is, we're looking for leaders, but leaders might be right there among us.
No, but I'm asking you,
right?
I'm asking you, in which way did Michael Pintard, in your consideration, stand up for the Bahamian people?
Pardon me?
In which way did Michael Pintard stand up for the Bahamian people in your consideration?
Well, as you can see right now in the House of Assembly, every single time, he has led the opposition leader by telling the people and telling the Prime Minister and his crew to be accountable for all the things that are going on. Now, we all know how the PLP go. All of us know how the PLP go. When the PLP ready, they just do whatever they want to do. But we vote them in because why? We have them popular. The last good PLP we had, and I didn't want to go that far, Lyndon Oscar Pinland. A good man.
Okay.
No.
Like
that was one of the last good PLPs we had. I can hang up and listen to the conversation because I want to hear what you have to say. But all I'm saying is everyone knew that this Prime Minister would get his coup together and they're going to do whatever they want to do because he know he ain't coming in next time. And believe me when I tell you, when it's all said and done, the Bahamian people are going to pay the price for it. Thank you.
I appreciate your telephone call, my brother. When I started to talk about conviction and strength and standing up, there's sort of a determination. Not that no one came to my mind. Let me just say that. No one individual. No one individual. The one thing that came to my mind is that somebody from the COI is going to call me. As it relates to an individual who I identify with these characteristics and quality has been consistent over the course of time to be able to provide transparency and honesty, that we can look at this individual and say, I think that he or she should go into politics. I haven't seen that as yet. I have, and I remain steadfast and committed to this kind of a concept that I believe I do have my choice of being able to identify persons. I believe that in this dispensation, for Howard Grant, don't fight me. My God, you get yours, I get mine. Amen. Don't be like the fella tell me I don't have the prerogative. My God. Which is a lot, right? This is a lot. So if I could take my prerogative, I'll be Bobby Brown today, right? I believe for me, for the dispensation that we're in, for the issues that we're having with crime, for this kind of brokenness in our society, for the inability to kind of get together and find unity, I feel like we need a little estrogen, right? I feel like we need a woman's touch in this position, but still a woman strong enough to be able to not only love us, but give us tough love, right? This kind of a determination and this focus, this steadfast focus to move forward. My God, y'all, just go with me. Don't fight me, just go with me. I am still steadfast and committed to what I said on Friday. Loretta was the man for the time. Loretta is the man for the time. But, I think that ship already sailed without her. Okay? I believe that what's happening both locally and internationally, we're going to need this kind of leadership. And not genuflecting and just kind of being able to give this to her. She got to earn this, just like everybody else. This kind of an idea that someone should give you leadership is bananas. We see where that got us from 1973 to now. We continue to be able to bow to the heirs and successors of people who have passed and handed over something. We never fight for nothing. Never. But we believe that we earned something. We didn't earn anything. This was given to us. And as a result of this given to us, this is just why you don't give people things. My daddy says to me when I was younger, he said, boy, let me tell you something. When you give some fella something, he'll never take care of it. I was maybe 14. I said, what do you mean? He said, if you didn't work for this, you don't know the value. You don't know the blood, sweat, and tears that had to go in for your savings and this kind of commitment and the anticipation and this focus and this drive and this determination to get this thing. You don't know the glory of being able to attain something despite the fact that you have gone through. You don't know nothing. So you're flipping with it. Just like how you treat people SD. You then slam that all over. You rob places, do this, do that, all these things. But you'll never do that in your car. Not the one that you had to work extra for. You had to work 2 doubles and then get back up in 5 hours to go to a next job to make money to purchase that vehicle that you enjoy. You know the value in that. You wash that until all the paint now off the hood. You had that for 15 years and the plastic's still on the chair inside. My God, you then changed the water pump 16 times. But that plastic's still there. You work for that. Is it because we've never worked for anything in this country that we're content with the fact that whichever way it goes, it is what it is? Talk about it. Lines are open. Call on the line. Go ahead.
Howard.
Hey.
What I learned with this union gentleman, right? They don't care about the women people. Union is what got busy like it is now. All he talks about is numbers and their pension. The government could drop the light bill to $20 to make it different for them. All they concerned with their pension and their money. That's all I have to say about that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, my brother. I do appreciate you. Members and pension. Yesterday we started to talk about this. Now, these fellas ain't gonna call me and say this. They ain't gonna say this. No one's gonna let this come out their mouth. No one's gonna do that. The one thing that many of us in this country look for, and this is what I say, I'm gonna give you an example. I spoke to a guy one time who was a pump attendant at some gas station. And he said he made a career of being a pump attendant. I thought it was peculiar. That one, that he would articulate it in such a manner, and two, that he's identified a word career that actually speaks to longevity and placed it in a position where this is a transitional job. This job is come and go. This job is the job that they offer fellas who coming out of jail in many instances as a transition to be able to reamalgamate them into society. This is not a permanent space. If any place in our country we can identify this is not a permanent space, brother, why would you? I'm not fighting him. I let it go. And I did some deeper thinking. Every single one of us, no matter the jobs that we have done everything we can by setting up a little small cubby hole, by being able to identify a small space that people could see us in this place every day. We've done everything we can. These transient jobs and made it careers. The Bahamian people, we don't have a succession plan. My God, let's get deep, quick, fast, and hurry. We don't have a succession plan. We don't. You don't. We will row and fight for NIB and never have a conversation about real 401ks and really having a piece of something. Our dependence has relentlessly and perpetually been on governance. And you are like the old tale, a great deal of us, not all, I can't put all the Bahamians in the bucket, but the majority of us are like the old tale. First rat in the hole, his tail covered. That's it. First rat in the hole, his tail covered. Now the issue is, your care and concern is not about the hole. Your care and concern is getting in. And when you get in, you look around, this is your career. My point. The presidents that sit in the capacity of BPL has a responsibility to its members. The members in BPL don't see a succession plan that exists in this particular space outside of the union. The union has not heard enough from the government to assure its members that this is a secured position. The anxiety is based upon the fact that there is no transparency and accountability to its members. And so they speak up and out with an expectation to get more information to provide that to its members. Because the fact of the matter is that its members have children in school. Its members have a baby who lost, some of the members, they get a baby who lost teeth, and then the adult teeth coming out crooked, they need braces. The babies now need to go to college. All these things. They're in a secured position now, but if anything changes, they can't make any major decisions. Why do we act like we're not a part of this society? Listen, we are a part of this one society. Every one of us know how much a gallon of milk costs. Why do we flam as though we could afford that? Many a days y'all drink cream and water. We live in one society. Our aspirations are great, but we must retain this secured position. I cannot blame the presidents of the union. I cannot. The one thing that is consistent and the reason why the members pay dues is because they're giving them some sense of assurity. That my interest, that you carry that. But if they can't provide this kind of a commonality and this assured position, then why should anyone be a part of the union? And then they will lose their job. Let the people agitate. Let them agitate. But I don't want red herrings. I want to be clear with you. Your agitation shouldn't lead you to this deep fake and speculation, this red herring, that the government is going to bring in foreigners and this and that, and we don't know. Come on, man, don't do that to us. Don't do that to us. There's no need for you to be able to tamper with that kind of a stagnant water in our society. You don't have to always identify this water, this murky black and white water that separates people. You don't have to touch that. Wait until you get information. And when you provide that information, come to the people. I accept your agitation. But I expect the same thing you expect from the government, we expect from you. You expect the government to be upfront, transparent, provide the details, the information, so you can be able to transfer the information. You expect that. We expect when you come to us that you're upfront, transparent, say the government did not provide us significant information, but don't speculate. The speculation is where the issue arises. If that's what you do to get a rise up out of your members, then you'll do that in your union hall. But when you come to the public, let's just hit me with a square deal. Let's talk like this, with transparency. I can't fight them for fighting for their unions and fighting for their position. But I will say, do so with transparency and be above board. Lines are wide open, guys. Let me take this quick commercial break and be right back after this.
Foundation. Foundation. The
Bonneville
foundation.
Bones, established in 1970, is the leader in men's fashion in the Bahamas. We're conveniently located in the mall at Marathon and the Harbor Bay Shopping Plaza, and fully stocked with everything you need for all occasions. Our Harbor Bay location is one door north of Alive, with the black and white signage of Bonneville Boutique. Both locations are open from 10 to 7 p.m., Monday through Saturday. Bonneville Bones and Bonneville Boutique, still the leader in men's fashion. Located in the mall at Marathon and the Harbor Bay Shopping Plaza.
The Central Bank of the Bahamas is celebrating 50 years with $50,000 in cash for 5 Bahamian students conducting innovative research in economics, finance, or business that could impact the Bahamas. If your completed work is fit for publication, you could be one of 5 finalists in the 2024 T. Baswell Donaldson Research Competition and claim your share of $50,000. The winner will receive $30,000, and all finalists can participate in a research fellowship with the Central Bank of the Bahamas. Submission deadline April 30th, 2024.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation. 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 The foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant and your company, The Foundation. We are here live and in full effect, being able to chop these things down. The lines are wide open if you want to be able to participate and be a part of that. We are tipping toe into the taboo. I just wanted to do that, right? We are getting into a few things with decency, right? As much decency that we can be able to offer it, with being able to look in the face of what's happening in our country. I think it's too much for me. It's overwhelming. I can't take it. I can't take the non-productivity as we continue to be able to scream at issues, and we exert more energy from the scream than the application of our hands and feet. This is exhausting. For me, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. I can't deal with it. When I think that successive governments and administration had nestled themselves into the concept and idea that this is a part of the job. This kind of subtle deflection, right? This kind of approach where we refrain and hold back, and then in anticipation to be able to, hit them with the big bang. This is too much. We have a country to run. Seriously, we have a country to run. We have things to do. We don't have time for this foolishness. We don't need you to be able to come out after you make one announcement to be able to cut ribbons and wear your pretty suit that you get. No. We need to be able to get to productivity. And if something in your mind, if something in our society has said to you that the rhythm of what happened in yesteryear is the way that things should be done, then I don't think that you are fit for this job. Because for the most part, we have not seen productivity since Hubert Alexander Ingram. I just want to be as decent as possible as I say this. As decent as possible. Now, this is enshrined in the mind of a young man. You hear me? This is enshrined in the mind of a young man. Whether you believe it or not, Ingram did a phenomenal job by being able to show himself more productive than every prime minister. Now, maybe he may be a hair behind Lyndon Pinlin, but that's because we were at flat zero and the infrastructure needed to be built. That's the only thing that has Lyndon Pinlin ahead. The promises and the commitment that Lyndon Pinlin has made, we have yet to see those things. The making of millionaires, this concept and idea of empowerment, the opportunity for being able to talk about Bahamianization, yet again, theory. The application is far from. You could cuss Ingram out today. You could literally cuss him out right now and say that the next generation don't have an opportunity to be able to get land as a result of a ruling that you've made. As a result of what you've done. And guess what? Everyone could hear you cuss him out because he didn't theorize about the concept and idea of opening up the airwaves. Listen, he's not perfect. But I believe that he stands behind his decisions. And he made them. Made his decision. And a young saw it. For the first time, I watched a whole, listen to me, 8 Mile Rock was just like getting to if you ever been to Queens Highway, going up to Apico. So you come from our shop, you're getting up to Crown Haven, driving north. And the road, and it says, welcome to Cooperstown. And the road, smooth. Thanks for coming to Cooperstown. That's it. Our roads in 8 Mile Rock was worse than that. Lindy Russell was the member of parliament then. Our roads in 8 Mile Rock had holes in it. You anticipated, you knew, even if you was drunk, as a little child, I knew this, where the big, deep potholes were. The whole of the Queens Highway and Warren Lavardy Highway and all these things was paved. Blew my mind. The first time we even thought about, because we used to ride our bikes in the road, the first time we even thought about anything, the sidewalks were paved. We actually had sidewalks in 8 Mile Rock. Y'all don't understand what this do to people from the Family Islands. We could drive our bike and walk on the side of the road. We used to walk in the road. Now, if that didn't do something for you and your mind as it relates to productivity and identifying this productivity to one leadership, one man, then that's your business. But the fact of the matter is that we have yet to see the type of productivity. The only thing is that it's an extension thereof. Ingram was willing to take the hits and the blows for being able to do what he's done on JFK. When I came to Nassau, that was one winding road. I was scared to fall in the water. Come on, man, y'all talk to me. The last time, despite the fact that we can cuss him for his position, no matter your position, however you feel about it, it was done. The former prime minister, I continue to be able to say this, the former prime minister left a Bahama undone. 5 years later, when his colleagues stepped back into office, his party stepped back into office, they opened up parliament in Bahama. And the first question I had to him, how does this justify your position and your legacy? This Perry Christie I asked. And he promised me, he says, Howard, I'm going to come on your show. Never reached yet. I'm not going to fight him. My point to you is that there's no productivity in this country. People pontificate their guts out. They can show you they've had a few words, they studied it last night, they want to use it on you tomorrow. They come here, they give us words and platitudes, they genuflect and clean their teeth, great haircut, they got white collars, they look very good, sharp and pristine, great car, always clean, so forth and so on. These guys look the part, but their fruits are non-existent. And we keep voting for these people. Your constituency still have a big pothole in it. People still flying up and down in your constituency. You ain't got no speed bumps. These are small, minute things that your leadership in your constituency is not fixing. And you still vote for these people. You barely see these people. Depending on who you work for, they've been seconded to the cabinet of the Bahamas and don't have the time to commit to you in your constituency. You're content that your member of parliament is a cabinet minister, but they're non-performing in your constituency. You're torn. You're torn. You don't even know what's accessible to you. You don't even know from a governmental standpoint, these are things that are set aside for you. These men and women are not doing their job, but they will do whatever it takes to retain this position, this social perception, this idea of leadership and power. The idea that when they walk into your restaurant, you say, oh my God, you're rich. I had this grouper right here waiting on you, baby. Take one for your wife. You hungry? You thirsty? That is the payment for the power they ascend to. They smile relentlessly from ear to ear, face tired from smiling. And not just the fake one, the deep one. Because they never knew that you loved them so. And then they find themselves out of the position. And you remind them, oh, no, boss, you in there today. No one wants to do their job, man. That's it. No one wants to do the work. This is not hard work, ladies and gentlemen. I promise you. From here to eternity, this job that they have in the House of Assembly, it is not hard. You know why it's not hard? Because you have talented men and women that exist right here in the country who have been doing this for a very long time. All you need to do, the hardest thing that you need to do is identify the talent. That is the hardest thing that you need to do. Identify the talent. Trust the talent, empower the talent, expect it to get done. Police the talent, ensure that you, even if you want to get to the position where you micromanage, do that. But provide an opportunity. And let's watch this country change, man. We're relentlessly having a conversation about this idea that the boogeyman's going to come, that all these things are going to happen. I'm telling you, if Loretta was the prime minister, my God. Loretta, I ain't trying to get you fired. I know you're working for the PLP. I'm not going to fight you. It's my girl. Praise God for you. You've already showed us your hand, Loretta, what your capabilities are, where your passion is, your ability to identify men in a misogynistic society where they look down condescendingly in their smoker's room, talk about women. You've identified this, and you were able to pull men together. Loretta, you could do this. Now, Anton, I start your conversation again. Because this lackluster, this lack of leadership is taking us around the bush. And my God, we can't be here for another 40 years. We've done this for 50 years. We've already done this. We've done this for a time and a half already. It is time for us to get back to productivity. Let's talk like this, ladies and gentlemen. I want you guys to be able to participate in the conversation. I see your stuff in there. I see all the things in there. A sick out at BPL. This is bananas. This is bananas. This is unnecessary. Not from BPL's standpoint, from the government standpoint. Transparency, accountability, access, opportunity. That's it. We want a fair shake. We have children to feed. We don't care about your suit, whatever. We work hard every day to take care of our children, which is the next tier, the next generation of leaders in this country. We will fight you down and stand off, shut down the bridge, shut down the power, shut down everything if we cannot take care of our children. And this ain't hard for you. Just provide us the details and the information. If you didn't have that, all your ducks in a row and line up to be able to do that, then you shouldn't have brought the conversation to the forefront just yet. You have yet to talk about what's happening within the board at BPL. Why are there members from the board standing up and leaving from a paid board? Why? Why are you always looking for a scapegoat at BPL? Why? Is this the reason you're looking for external interests to be able to manage? We have to talk about this with clarity and honesty for the Bahamian people. Because I need my power on. My God, I have yet to buy a Generac generator from Ian. Ian, I may need one. Come put it in my place. Let me take this commercial break, guys. Get the news and be right back after this.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation. 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 The foundation. The foundation.
Make your mornings easy with the new breakfast bowls at Burger King Nassau. These delicious bowls are a complete breakfast in a convenient package for those on the run who want to enjoy the most important meal of the day, the BK way. Each breakfast bowl has all the breakfast fixings you love and comes in 3 tasty versions to choose from, including the classic, the Southwestern style, and the keto-friendly bowl. BK just made breakfast easier with the new breakfast bowls at Burger King Nassau, where taste is king.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Guardian Radio and the Foundation are on the move.
Bahamas, this one's for you.
SBT, Small Business Thursdays. Every Thursday, the Foundation with Howard Grant will highlight small businesses throughout the country, far and wide. Your products, services, prices, and personality. We want to hear it all. Get your 30 or 60-second advertisement heard on air at a fraction of the cost. We here at the Foundation understand the times and don't want you to be left behind. With Guardian Radio, you reach your specific demographic and it is unmatched.
We reach thousands daily.
Get your products off the shelf and your services in their hearts. Small Business Thursdays with the Foundation, only on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. For more information, call 302-2300 or the Help Me Howard line at 827-0111. SBT, Small Business Thursdays. Get your business moving today.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant and your company, the Foundation, right here on a Tuesday. Just being able to talk a few things. I got a couple of texts. I got to be able to read those things to you. If you want to be able to get in, you can do that. Please hit me up. The phone number is 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, anywhere for the Family Violence, 242-300-5720. Hit me up, 422-4796 on the text. Y'all are loading me up with the text today. Let's see if we can be able to get through a few of these. So it says, great show as usual. Howard, I have an SD company. Locals are the worst people to rent cars to. It says also, the union is the reason a nuclear power station is a horrible idea here in the Bahamas. Because they would strike, and the next thing you know, boom, Nassau become one giant sinkhole in the ocean. I don't believe you. You don't believe in us, you know. You don't believe in us. We are good and decent people. God is on us, my God. Don't mind if you don't see the halo all the time. We are decent people. They will never do that. You heard the president just came on the news? You heard what he said? You heard what he said? He said there's no discomfort to the public. They are wielding our comfort in their hand. We remember it continues to be able to linger in our mind like a ghost in the corners. When Leslie Miller said, you can sweat. Yeah, you can sweat. You remember that? We have done everything we can since that point not to sweat, including genuflect to hedge agreements, paying this. We need to stop. We need clarity. We need accountability. We need transformation. We need growth. We need access. And simultaneously, we need assurances that these fellas are going to find opportunities within their jobs. That's what you need to do. As union president, let's talk technology. Let's do it. Let's talk budding technology in the energy field. Let's talk concepts and ideas that 10 years, 15 years out that we can be able to tap into. Let's talk about identifying relationships locally and abroad that we can be able to incorporate those technology. Not necessarily here in Nassau. You ain't gonna bother with that first. Do your beta testings in the family of islands. Identify those particular spaces that you can be able to assure yourself you got everything taken care of. Simultaneously, those union members who need to be trained and qualified to be able to do that, you could send them off to a family island to execute these concepts. Yeah. We need real life conversations. We don't need you to be able to be yelling and screaming at the government, at the union, and being able to wield our comfort in your hand about what's going to happen, what's not going to happen, if anything changes at this point. Listen, one day out of 7, all this got to change. There is no way that we could continue to exist off of this fossil fuel. That is bananas. There's bunker C fuel that we continue to spill out into the atmosphere as we, on one side of our mouth, our prime minister going all around the world, talking about global warming, and things need to change right here. Sir, they have to change. Don't fight him. Have a clear conversation. Get subvention from the government. Let him give you a piece of property in one of the family islands down south. Put a couple bunkers in that. Identify the properties for the alternative energies that you want to be able to bring. Create a space to be able to train your members. One group at a time. Group 1, Group 2, Group 3. You go down there for however long the training is. Prepare them for the transition that is absolutely inevitable. It is absolutely inevitable. One day out of 7, we cannot afford this no more. There's no need to fight change. Not like this. Identify it, accept it, compromise, get to a place of productivity. Let's do this. This is jive what we're doing right now. This is garbage. This fear that we have as we slip from one month to another, praise God, we in March, because this was June, none of us could breathe right now. Our air conditioning would be home on now. Every 2 seconds, we're trying to figure out, is it still on? Let's talk. Let's have a clear conversation. And this is the legacy of your position as president. That you led this transition to a beautiful, better Bahama land, strong, energy efficient Bahama land under your regime. That's how you do this. Not fighting for bunker C fuel. Not fighting for these concepts to stay in there. I know you're fighting for your union members. I ain't fighting you. But this change is inevitable. Grammy say this ain't going, this coming. And if you sit in the seat, you don't want to be the one to stop and stagnate the change that is inevitable for the Bahamian people. It's almost 400,000 of us live on this one island. We need to figure out a way to do this better. I accept what you're saying. I'm not going to fight you. I accept your position. I accept you fighting for your members. I accept the government wasn't transparent. I accept those things. But you have to accept that this is inevitable. That if the PLP doesn't do it, whatever administration comes in next will have to do this. The inevitability of what's happening is the inevitability of VAT, of taxes. These things will happen. Now, either you can get ahead of the curve or you can be left behind. Let's talk like that. The lines are wide open if you want to be able to do that. Call on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Hey, good afternoon, Mr. Howard Grant.
Hey, my brother. What's happening?
You tell me, man. I see you talking, but, I like Loretta Butler. You know that, right?
I like her.
I thought she was, not because she's a pretty lady, but I thought she's beauty and brains, and I like the way she speaks, and I think she could represent us well.
I like that.
So even, as far as a female, I think it would be in her Janet Boswick. I consider them to be just as capable as any man to run this country.
I like this.
And I thought she was up there, but I actually liked her, you know what I mean? That's just the way it is. But, I thought she's a nice lady. And
yeah.
She was really sincere with the Bahamian people. I don't have a problem showing a stick. Men, I realize that women can talk better than us. That's just the way it is. I don't understand it from the police force. Females think differently. men deal more religion. I don't know what's wrong with us. Something wrong with us. I don't know if it's ego.
No, that's not mechanics. That's just how we make up. That's why you get married.
But we could be foolish, very foolish.
Yes.
And naive in our social behavior.
Yes. That's why you get married.
Like robots. But what I wanted to touch on, right, was conversations that we don't want to have. And so even a dummy like me in chemistry, right, would know that one of the problems with humanity is getting rid of waste, right? And so I don't know who mentioned nuclear waste. I'm afraid I don't even want to see it because here's what happened and they didn't want to tell you about. If we can get rid of the hydrocarbons and the fuel, but they actually have a oil deposit underneath BC out west, right? We can actually get more oil and wouldn't see from underneath the ground there. Because I had some family members did some work around there in the catchment areas, and they didn't want to tell you about the amount of fuel that sits and seeps and all that. And then we haven't done any anthropogenic studies to see the amount of carcinogens or hydrocarbons in our sea. You could catch the fish and study them. This would be of COB Marine Biology and whatever the institute is in Ilucha. We haven't done anything. All we do is sit and talk, and our minds don't walk, okay? Now, as it relates to nuclear waste, right? I knew from a long time ago that one of the major problems with nuclear waste concerns related to nuclear power, the creation of radioactive waste, which is such as uranium mills and spents and reactive fuel and other radioactive waste, right? These materials, one thing I remember from high school was some radioactive chemicals last for thousands of years. They would always talk about the lifetime and half-lifetime, et cetera, et cetera. So why would I be dealing with something that lasts 1,000 years in the environment? That's worse than persistent organic pollutants. What they call POPs. You see, I've done too much reading, Howard. The thing is about self-educating yourself. You don't know what you know, but when you hear PF, you get debunk it or juxtapose it to something, right? Now, nuclear waste, even getting rid of the fuel rods, et cetera, it's just, what I'm saying is, if we was a first world country, maybe we would consider that, but knowing how we just arc and what we just do here, and we suppress everything, we even saw with Jerome Fitzgerald with the Rubus oil leak, et cetera, et cetera. I can't trust these Negroes with nothing, man, okay?
Wow.
We look at the story coming about the information on the fast food restaurants, right? Most people don't even realize, because they don't read enough, that the chicken industry, we're putting arsenic in chicken from the 1930s, maybe up until the 70s or 80s, I think. But I can't remember. But I know they started from the 30s. So they use arsenic, which is a heavy metal, which is carcinogenic. They use it as a growth hormone factor, and it suppresses the chicken's appetite to make more money. Most people don't know what aspartic acid or aspartame. It's actually the fecal certain species of bacteria, so they could avoid mechanical machine sweetness. So lack of knowledge, the hell with the college. The thing is, we enrich in America by going away to college, and we have all the solutions, but the problems remain the same with humanity. I mean, people could have degrees and be educated, but Howard, take for instance, this fool going around the world, but he being to the climate change summit. Louis George knows nothing about climate change, absolutely nothing. As far as I'm concerned, he's a planet puppet. Howard, can you please get someone so we can talk and I can have a dialogue with someone in radio about climate change and the science and the maths behind it? Please, have Aaron Green sitting on it too, please. Please, Howard, I wanted to debunk all this BS, man. You say the Prime Minister flying around the world, but he's not doing anything that relates to climate change. Howard, if you learn the truth about climate change, you'll realize there's nothing more than a financial construct. There's too many variables. There's too many complexity. It doesn't make sense, Howard. They can't calculate anything. The scientists haven't arrived at a consensus on the multipliers that they will use. CO2, carbon monoxide turns to carbon dioxide after 72 hours in the atmosphere. They can't tell the difference between anthropogenic carbon and its isotopes than carboniferous carbon. They just found out that they haven't factored in certain microorganisms photosynthesize also. So this offsetting in carbon output and man, listen, Howard, the size of a tree leaf, the thickness of the cambium. Howard, come on, man. You got enough sense to see this a bunch of don't go BS, man. Come on, man, Howard, man. Bring someone on, please.
Climate change. I can do this internationally.
Science Venture University.
No.
He invited me to apply to come to Deep Science Venture University on Aaron Green Show. Why you think someone needs to be a college grad? Why can a non-pundit contribute to pundits? As you saw me during the pandemic. What people was telling Warren McCarthy, that's off to my brother, who helped me keep my sanity by listening to what I was saying. Big up Warren McCarthy. Bless up.
Thank you, my brother. I do appreciate your telephone call. I can get this climate change. I have someone on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook, on LinkedIn, who is a professional in these particular spaces. So we can see if we can set this particular conversation up. I like this. I appreciate your contribution. Lines are wide open. Call on the line. Go ahead. Go ahead, caller. Next call. Caller on the line. Go ahead. 323-623-2325, 431-632-4259, anywhere for the family of islands, 242-300-5720, or you can hit me up, 422-4796. Call on the line, go ahead.
Yes, Howard, how you doing?
I'm good. What's up, Ciala?
Just let me say concerning women's leadership. We always say we need a woman. The question we need to ask when somebody presents themselves is this the woman? Okay? And so it's a different conversation concerning leadership. But in my 20-plus years of being home, we've made choices of the lesser evil. And I would challenge you, other than the documents that give a hint at tomorrow in each of those things, that we've not had leadership that has kept pace with the arena we've been in, at least for the 23 years that I've been home.
I agree with you.
And that's in the 21st century.
I agree with
and
you.
So these are rudimentary things that we have to ask. And I know you talk about testing technology everywhere else. These are technologies that's been proven around the world. So creating them in a micro or macro type environment is not rocket science. What we need is leadership that recognize that there is a shift occurring around the world and in global economies that has to be matched it. You have multi-trillion-dollar, numerous multi-trillion-dollar economies that are being birthed right now today. In fact, AI will allow the one-man unicorn to be created in today's society. Now, let me clarify. Artificial intelligence, for all of the experts in the Bahamas, and I've heard some around the world, we have not reached that yet. We, in the best in our intelligence. And essentially, AI allows you remember the magnifying glass where you were able to see bacterial things that you couldn't see before?
Yeah.
But it was always there?
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what this level of AI does. It only allows you to see the unseen. What we have to prepare our children to do is to ask, after seeing all, what's next? That's the human nature to find out. But essentially, right, in this particular dispensation, we could transform our economy. There's no problem in this economy that I could meet your best minds today. Give me 1 hour preparation, and I will dismiss just like 52 said, the canteen thinking that colleges teach you, okay? Because it is innovation, thinking beyond what is known, and college only transfers what is known to you. Thinking beyond what is known that generates the new, the wealth, the change in this world. So the problem with the Bahamas is we sit at this crossroad of our location where the mega countries, economies, are fighting for what's called digital supremacy. And the Bahamas is almost the equivalent of Qatar. Are you familiar with Qatar, how they got their power? Qatar got their powers when everybody else was in chaos around them. They became the mediator. Mm-hmm. We solve problems of all of y'all. When y'all have issues, sit here and deal with this. The Bahamas, constitutionally, is that place. And what I mean by that,
even geographically, you know.
No, that's about to come to that.
Even geographically, we are that place. Right. We sit in the middle.
Right. So I just want you to think with this, Howard. You name any technology that's existence today, there's only one fuel. One fuel, and that is data. I don't care if it's AI, I don't care if it's quantum computing, I don't care what it is, fintech, anything, it's all data. And I've used this for almost 2 decades. The Bahamas is constitutionally prepared to provide conversion of data of people into the data. Just use an example. We are in a world right now of digital twins. Do you know, Howard, today, if you was to pass away, you no longer cease to exist in the sense that we think of it, that I can recreate you by everything you've ever said on radio, post on the internet,
yes.
and everything else.
Yes.
So that means that you have created currency, intellectual capital that will live almost forever.
That's heavy what you're saying. It's the truth.
Should,
we could compile everything, all the shows I've done over these years, and AI can tell you how Howard will think about this.
Right.
That's
so what happens, I'm saying to you, now, I want you to think now that, you remember BMI and ASCAP? Someone has to manage that data. The Bahamas gives us constitutional privacy in spite of us believing it's secrecy. And that's what we build an economy on, secrecy and things. So
this is heavy.
If we can give constitutional privacy to individuals and become the BMI and ASCAP of the world, where individuals begin to recognize that they will live forever in a digital sense, and we become managers of that.
You're talking about an entire industry, sir.
Absolutely.
You're talking about an entire industry. I love it.
Go across Guardian and you can see this. But there's so much different things right now that we can do right now.
We don't only have to talk about cannabis. We can talk about some other industries that we are geographically placed to be able to blossom in.
I know. I hear you.
Like
give me 10 seconds. But I'm simply saying this, Howard. We need leadership that can give empowerment to behemoths today, utilizing fintech and all these other technologies.
And for you, who's that leadership?
Say it again?
And for you, who's that leadership?
Let me tell you what leadership does. Leadership is not knowing.
You know I got to take a break.
No, I know you take a break. Listen, or you want me to hold? Listen to this, guys.
Yeah, hold 2 seconds. I can let you come back. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, quick break. We're going to be right back after this.
Foundation.
Creativity is in my blood. From shoes to handbags, fashion lets me express myself and embody Bahamian culture. My name is Aiden Barrow, and I am the creative director of House of Assembly. Alive's Liberty Prime Plan allows me to focus on my passion and stay connected, whether at home or abroad. Once I've created something new, I can post to social media from anywhere and get instant feedback. Alive has a plan for everyone, and it's created with you in mind. Alive. Believe in best.
The Central Bank of the Bahamas is celebrating 50 years with $50,000 in cash for 5 Bahamian students conducting innovative research in economics, finance, or business that could impact the Bahamas. If your completed work is fit for publication, you could be one of 5 finalists in the 2024 T. Baswell Donaldson Research Competition and claim your share of $50,000. The winner will receive $30,000, and all finalists can participate in a research fellowship with the Central Bank of the Bahamas. Submission deadline April 30th, 2024.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio, Howard Grant in your company, the foundation, chopping it down today, talking all these things. I think we got to shift the conversation to what the government should not do, what the government has not done, to what our responsibilities in response to their inactions, their approach, lackadaisical, and, just kind of cut within the confines of their political aspirations, right? We need to know how we're going to respond to that. And I say this, I think every single time leadership could sit around the table and say, we could anticipate the unions to do this. We anticipate the unions to do that. That's it. I love how my girl Belinda actually responds, and she gives them an outline. We said, this is what our expectations are. This is the qualification that exists within this particular space. This is it, boom, 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 boom. And she numbered them. And she could tell you, she could quote, if you go back to number 221, she could do that. Now, I say that to say that in this dispensation, first and foremost, let's fix this. Let's fix this. Let's fix this. Let me fix this for you. 2024, a lot of things are happening. If you take a panoramic view of our children, our youth, and understand that they don't even respond to cut behind no more, then corporal punishment would not even be on the table. Children don't even respond to that anymore. They've already been conditioned from the 90s. One time ago, I called the police for my parents as they introduced this foolishness to me. When I say foolishness, because I get beaten again for calling the police. I get beaten when I was young. And I called the police on my mother or my father. Someone to beat me, right? I stand up in the room. I said, we put on some more tears. After the cry finish, you then get beaten. It subsides. You're trying to be able to find a recourse. What can I possibly do? Hey, I watch this on television. Let me call the police. Boom. I call the police. Hey, so you put on more tears. My mommy beat me. I had to be 9. The officer said, yeah, your mom beat you? I said, yes, she beat me. Yeah. What did you do? Nothing. Lies. All lies. But your mommy should beat you again. This officer tell me. Your mommy should beat you again and stop wasting the government time calling on you. That concept and idea doesn't exist anymore. They may not necessarily call, but they definitely won't respond to you the way that you think that they would. They would tell you, this is abuse, mommy. What are you doing? Why are you beating me like this? This doesn't make any sense. You're not logically thinking. Boom. This panoramic view of this dispensation, this generation that we're in right now. They've already been conditioned. They're birthed in a time. They exist in a time that many of us, this is foreign to us. And if we want to reach them, it cannot be with corporal punishment. It cannot be with capital punishment. It cannot be with the rod of correction. Our rod has become our tongues. And our tongues can only work is if we have reciprocity in our relationship, if we give and take in our society. The segregation, separating these set from that set, your red set go over here, the blacker ones over here, the Haitians over here, the white ones over here. If we have this set up in our society, there won't be reciprocity. We can't get anything from the youth. I go back to the top of this conversation. The only people that can fix this lack of empathy in our society, in my view, is a woman. Society. We're not saying that men can't do this. No. We're not concerned about trying to figure out whether or not you have what it takes to step in this role. We know a woman got this. This in her. And we've already seen this empathy displayed in women before. We see around the region, around the world, that women are moving and ascending to a position of power. And they're doing tremendous. This goes back to what I'm saying. If you take a panoramic view, this is not Howard emotionally. This is not Howard being able to, hey, Lorraine, you see me call your name? None of this. None of this happens. This is only me trying to identify how do we get reciprocity? How do we now find ourselves in a position that we can give love and receive respect, that we can give respect and receive love? How do we do that with our society? How do we do that with youth? Is it going to be with a cane? Is it going to be with just being able to lash them? Or is it going to be identifying the qualities that exist in them, saying to them, I identify these qualities in you. You can't get it out like this. If you have an issue, why don't you come and talk to me? Do you know how many psychologists in this country don't have a job? Do you know how many psychologists in this country, they go off to school for this nice job to sit down and talk to people and identify how we can be able to assist them to achieve this sort of self-actualization. They go off and get a job and come back here and be a manager in somebody's bank or something. They have these degrees and they don't even execute it because it is known in our society that black people even can talk to you. Don't worry about that. Child, let nobody business, child. Let sleeping dogs lie. You ain't got to beat that dead horse. You put animals where there is a human issue. You don't want to talk about it. You don't want to talk about how these children have been raped. You don't want to talk about the violence they've been exposed to. You don't want to talk about the depression in their environment. You don't want to talk about the fact that they've gone to school and they lack in these particular. You don't want to talk about that. They go off to school right now. My little sister, my mother's last child, my sister, she is certified and qualified as a psychologist. And she ain't doing that. She says she's going back to school to get another degree. There's no acknowledgement, no opportunity, no access, no nothing. And children in school broken every day. We need a woman in various capacities that understands reciprocity, that can give that kind of estrogen energy. And testosterone can be diminished. Just a pinch. For us to find equilibrium and balance in our society. Everybody don't have to be a macho man. And I'm not talking about the village people. Y'all need to stop. Everybody don't have to be this kind of a brute. We need to get to a place of equilibrium. And how do we do that? Now it's time for us to tap into our intellectual aspect. Now it's time for us to be able to talk about a few things. I'm going to go back to C. Allen just for him to wrap up this intellectual capacity. If we don't dive into, as men, if we don't dive into the intellectual capacity, allow women to bring that estrogen energy and love, we're going to have a lopsided society. You can't beat people straight. You can't scare them straight. Nobody's scared of that. You're going to have to kill us. We're not scared. But the only way this can work is through reciprocity, through love. Someone talk to me. You give it and receive respect. That is from all angles and all avenues of our society. C. Allen, wrap up for me. Go ahead.
So to bring this context of leadership in, you ever seen a sleigh of reindeers or dogs attached to a sleigh?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the lead dog doesn't pull the sleigh, right?
No.
Okay. So when you understand what leadership is, right, it's Tim Cook, it's Andy Jassy of Amazon, it's Elon Musk of Tulsa, it's Alan Jope of Unilever, Steve Sequeri of American Express, Bill McDermott of ServiceNow, Albert Bourleau of Pfizer, what's the name? James Gorman of Morgan Stanley. It's not knowing all information. It is bringing the people around you that can collectively express a vision that you can lead. What is vision? Vision is an expression of the future in the present, not aspirational type thing, something that can aptly apply a blueprint. And that's the type of leadership that must be chosen in the coming years. And you could look at BPL we're fighting about, right? You know, it's like we don't believe that we are capable of doing whatever, so we must have foreigners doing it. In the same capacity, we could have transferred BPL into a sovereign trust without interference of government or anything that makes a decision in the interest of the people. In the same way, if getting foreigners, that sovereign trust could hire those same foreigners to do whatever it is that is needed to be done without interference of government, without any argument about ownership. Because the sovereign fund would own the infrastructure and all of the assets forever. So you can buy expertise. If you chip your tooth today, you'll go buy a dentist. You wouldn't seek to become one.
So you agree with this sense of outsourcing in a sense?
No, right. No, I believe in buying what you lack. And so what happens is this is how these countries we mimic did it, you know. They went and bought the expertise, the Singapore, the Qatar, the Norway, these different
They bought cheap labor.
Right. No, they bought cheap intellectual capital, not the physical labor, because physical labor didn't build anything. It's intellectual capital, knowing what to build, is more important than actually the builders. You can buy laborers. And so what I'm saying to you is that we have the intellectual capacity within us. We've never found leadership to date, as of today, that is governed, that's in charge of the car, that is saw within us the collective intelligence to solve our problems, knowing that this is our natural environment. We are familiar with it.
It's heavy what you're saying, Cialan.
Okay? So when we say choosing leadership going forward, is who we have to look at to say, who is this leader that recognizes the least amongst us in their needs and the best amongst us to achieve it? And so
I want you to surmise this in a one word.
All I'm saying is that that's what I'm looking for, right? And I would accept any challenge to any decisions I make. Mind you, my decision today is subject to change tomorrow. I'm not landlocked in my belief system. This is why these companies and Apple and General Electric and Walmart and Telus and eBay and BlackRock and IBM, all of them would change because their idea of evolution was not a static one. It was a dynamic one. So we need dynamic leadership to understand this multifaceted aspect of our communities, that we don't reach back into our past where we are people locked into the, cemented in the past and the knives of the future to see if we could extract from them any new information. If we had given them the opportunity, just an ending in saying this, if they could, they would have. So if you could make an argument they could now, then you have to ask you why they didn't then.
Wow.
And
I appreciate
that's why we have to basically have real conversation. We are crisis. You see what the Prime Minister says? BPL is crisis. Nothing exists in this world without energy. But notice, No solution has been provided.
None.
We're saying that, you know what we're saying to them is that we're not selling BPL, which is free part. It's generation, transmission, distribution. We have not sold BPL. We've only sold the transmission or given away the transmission. We've only given away the distribution. We've only given away the other part of it. That's like saying, we're having peas and rice today. Sorry, no peas, no tomato paste, no thyme, no nothing. But it's still peas and rice. That's, you see, we have a disingenuous conversation.
Yeah.
Again, and ending. If you don't know where you are, you can't plot where you're going.
Thank you, my brother.
If you don't know where you're going, you can't do anything else. So we need to just up the conversation on what real leadership is rather than what we think, what we feel, what we believe.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you. One of the things that C. Allen actually started to talk about with the fact is that he's not landlocked. I wanted to stretch that out. I'm sure he's going to take a time and do that some other time. But over the course of the past few months, we've been hearing him pontificate and provide a position, right? Whatever we're talking about, he provides us a detailed scope of information that says that this is the course that we should take. And then he sort of amalgamates everything that he's done into the potential of one individual to step in this space. And that has been, over the course of a few months now, Michael Pintar. Today, he's saying to me that he's not landlocked, that the sum of us, the total number of who we are and the potential of who we are, with an example that he gives, whether it's Apple, right? Whether it's Walmart or whoever, these leadership sits at the helm. But the company is bigger than the leader. And if the leadership, the CEO doesn't have a vision to be able to execute and take this company into the evolution of time, into progression for growth, despite what's happening in the environment, understanding and how to be able to pivot, then we need to be able to reconsider. And I think that's strong. I think that's strong. Leaders don't like this. This is why they look for yes men. They don't like to hear the real news. They don't want to. They're just like the pump attendant who has made a career of this particular position. You ascend to this point. You did everything that you possibly can. And please, do not believe that this is condescension to the pump attendant. I said to you, this was a conversation that a pump attendant and he said he made, I didn't ask him. He said that he made a career as a pump attendant. I thought it was peculiar. These are transient positions. Leadership in this country in this country is transient, despite what has happened with Lyndon Pendant. Despite the fact that 25 years in leadership, despite that, this is a transient position. You get in, you execute what you can, you place your vision, you understand within the confines of 10 years you could be able to get this or this particular thing done. You focus that, you do all you can, you identify those particular persons to surround yourself with to execute these particular things no matter what happens around you. You focus yourself on these. And you get out of power. My God, that's hard for a great deal of us. That's hard. You identify the target, you identify the people to be able to execute with you, you put it there, you put the vision on the table, this is what we're going to do over the next 10 years, guys, they can give us a chance. You hit it in 1992, you ask them to come back, I'm not done, you hit it in 1997, you say I'm finished, then you come back in 2007. This is too much. 2012. This is too much. 2007, sorry. This is too much. This is too much. There should be confined spaces for leadership. If you can't get this done within 10 years, then sit in the back bench and give somebody your ear. Speak to Joe Biden. Yeah, speak to Joe Biden. Yeah, see if he can carry out some of your things. But you're not going to sit in this seat anymore. You're done. If your influence could be able to permeate and find itself matriculate throughout your organization that you can let people give you their ear, then you could still sit in power. But you're not going to do so in the actual seat. Even for the purposes of perception. We are done with you as an individual. Now, if Sally or Jane or John or Joe wants to be able to sit at your feet, then that's a different story. We're not going to fight you for that. But leadership should not be afraid to execute and say, 2 terms for prime minister. 2 terms for prime minister. Come on, man. You guys are in your 70s. Let's just be very clear about this. You don't want to be sitting in this kind of position, feeble, sitting in the back of Parliament, trying to hide your oxygen tank. You don't want to do this. You don't want to travel around the world and you don't have the energy and the stamina to be able to execute these things. You don't want to be distant. Do what's right by the Bahamian people, and your legacy will remain unshaken. They know that you had the power to do something, whilst others had the power. You had the conviction and the strength to make a decision. This is what we need in leadership. I'm going to be very clear with you. This is what we need in leadership. I want to read a few of these texts, guys. Send your text, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, anywhere from the family of islands, 242-300-5720. Hit me up, 422-4796. You can be able to do those things, right? Let me see if I can read one of these things. I was talking about this a little earlier, and this is, LOL, Howard, I remember someone telling me, when you get this thing, just tell me, remember how to say thanks, eh? I said to them, no problem. And they said I could write a letter easy. And that's the last time they hear from them. Now, this is when we were talking about leadership and your MP being able to do something for you. They wouldn't do it. So it says, to know it is all I row. God help you. I don't know what that means. So it says, hey, Howard, tell Sea and those old FNM croonies with the bag will not allow Pintar to change nothing of significance. The status quo will remain. This is the text that's coming through. So it says, I'm looking at the website. Mr. Eric Pike seems legit. Kyle, you had y'all chance to turn BPL around, and y'all continue to put us in more debt. Give Pike a chance. This is a lot what you're saying. This is a text that's coming through. Every couple of years, we're buying y'all generators just for them to burn up. Let Pike take over everything. Listen, I don't want to sound like an Uncle Tom, right? Like I don't want to read a text that has this sort of an idea that supremacy only exists in one sector of society. The 1%ers have this, right? They're better than all of us. They could see better. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I know one thing. There's a lot of things that we have to battle locally. We have to battle things locally. And one of the things that we have to battle is corruption. Oh my God. Everybody cringes when we start to talk about that. Some of these individuals that sit in various places within governments are sold with the price. I just want to say that. Over the course of the past 10 years, 15 years, we've seen sit at the helm of BPL. When they transition into this position to identify leadership locally, to empower them to execute on this particular board, all the time we see people moving in, moving out of the board, moving in, moving out of the board. There's no autonomy. You love this idea. You believe that you're the person who's going to be able to change. You love it. You've been given an opportunity. You sit in this position now. The government of the day has identified you. You're ascended. Your chest is poke out. You take your new pictures. You put your $700 makeup on, and you ascend to this position on the board. And now your expertise, your experience, the years that you've been sitting in this position to finally find yourself in this room, you're sitting here and you open your mouth and they tell you shut up. And you say, no, but this is not how I think it should go based upon my expertise, relationships, the forecast, so forth and so on. Maybe we should start to look at this. No, that ain't how it is work. Why? Because your allegiance has never been to the Bahamian people. Your allegiance, and I'm not talking about the people on this board, I'm talking about the Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz. You remember the Wizard of Oz? He was behind the curtain the entire time. He was pulling the strings, the Geppettos. Behind the curtain the entire time. And while you're sitting on this board, believing that you could make a difference because of your expertise, your relationships, your insights, so forth and so on, you're sitting on these boards and you're told to shut up by men and women that don't have no idea of what the hell is going on over here. They have absolutely no idea. And they're telling you, no, that don't go like that. Taking on a position to be able to come to the public and speak condescending about professionals, destroying people position, because they take a chance to support this government and support the Bahamian people. Unless and until we deal with the underlying issues of corruption on the outskirts, let's be clear about this. The underlying issues of corruptions on the outskirts and the necessity for inviting autonomy on the inside of these boards, then we're going to always end up at the same space. And it don't make no difference if you call Pike, you call Kyle, you call, whoever you call, Mary Poppins. It don't make a difference. The power is still wielded from another space. There's no autonomy. Let's take a break and get right back after this.
Wings are here. Popeyes now has wings in 5 flavors: honey barbecue, ghost pepper, signature hot, sweet and spicy, and roasted garlic parmesan. Marinated for 12 hours. Hand battered and breaded in a bold Louisiana seasoning. And they're only $7.25 for 6 wings. Taste them.
Crunchy outside
and juicy inside.
Try the new wings from Popeyes now.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
Struggling to repay your loan? Let us help you get back on track with payment terms that suits your financial situation and improve your credit score and credit report with the Bahamas Credit Bureau. Inquire about our restructured loans today. Call us at 356-7764.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
And we're back for the last few minutes, guys. I want to take this quick quick telephone call, and then I want to get to some text. Call on the line. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Howard. How you doing?
I'm fantastic. How you doing, man?
Great. Howard, let me ask you this question.
Go ahead.
Do we have any engineers in this island, in this country?
If we have any billionaires here?
No, engineers.
With an M or I can't hear what you're saying. You're breaking up.
No, I'm saying if we have any engineers.
Oh, engineers. Engineers. Yeah, I thought you said millionaires. Yeah.
We have some abroad running plants and everything.
Yes.
And guess what, Howard? I don't mind someone coming, but see, like someone said, the politicians could win an election, but they can't run the country. And so get everybody around the table. If you have to go and call your Bahamian folks who are abroad to check, and sit, because the politicians, when they go and get these entities to come in, the politicians don't know nothing about engineering. And so you get everybody to sit around the table, ask the questions, how this would work. Would it go this way? How would it work? And until they do that, we'll continue to be in this dilemma that we have. So they need to get everybody around the table and get this room, bring in someone after the deal is signed, then you can come and say, but this is what we have.
Wow. I accept that.
That's so important. Thank you.
I accept your position, my brother. I appreciate what you're saying. That I think that is a reigning truth that exists throughout all sectors, because I've said something similar the other day as it relates to tourism and identifying those particular. Remember we started to talk about, I don't think we should sell Grand Lukai. I don't think we should look externally for persons to be able to own another piece of who we are. I believe that we existed for far too long without being able to have a brand that is known around the world, for being able to give a Bahamian experience in Dubai, not an Atlantis experience, a Bahamian experience, not Bahama that takes on sort of an idea of the environment that exists around it. I'm talking about a true Bahamian experience that persons in tourism and other sectors have engineered, crafted from a science perspective how to approach, and they document this in information, how to approach customer service, how to approach this, and create a constitution to create a franchise for a Bahamian hotel the world over. I believe we can do it. Sandals did it. Sandals now having turmoil, trying to make a determination as to whether or not leadership is going to go to the outside family or the inside family of the late leader, late owner of the organization. This is what's happening in the country. If they can do it, we can do it. We can do it. They take our model, and we did nothing with our model. I don't care how bad y'all want to beat Stafford Sands. This man made a model the world look at and use. They duplicate the thing the world over. And we ain't had the sense. We didn't have the sense to capitalize on it. We did not have the sense to capitalize on something that making money the world over. That's just peculiar to me. Let me read a couple texts before we get out of here. So it says, Howard, here's the thought. Maybe the privatization of BPL would be the best thing for dependable electricity nationwide. I doubt that. Because privatization of BPL would be equivalent, in my view, if there is this sort of a murky water that exists with the government still being able to have their hand in the register. I keep telling you about this story. My uncle, who owned a restaurant in Grand Bahama, I watched this as a child. He owned a restaurant in 8 Mile Rock, right? And he gave his children an opportunity to be able to run the restaurant. Now, the oldest son, he's actually a banker right now, right? And so he's always had this kind of a banking mind. And so he wanted to do things the right way and be able to account for the money and how much money make today and don't spend on this and that. And then, daddy walks in and go in the register and take the money out. I say, I got to go get this thing and I got to go pick this up and I got to go pick this up. Because that's the rhythm of what existed prior to him coming in. So don't bring no new ideas. That's the same thing that's going to happen with this government. If there isn't a clear-cut position for the government in terms of contribution, in terms of board, so forth and so on, you don't want people walking into the front door and say, my MP send me. That's what happened with the Radisson. That's happened in this country already. We need not murky the water. There's no autonomy in these positions. None. We've seen this already. The governments get involved. The governments will tell you, oh, they have autonomy on these boards, and then all of a sudden someone get fired. This is peculiar. So unless and until there is true autonomy, and if there is not significant separation, then I wouldn't even bother with this. Not me. I ain't bothering with that. We need to have the clear-cut position, Howard, this is your piece, this is my piece, and we ain't into that. Because that's the issue we're going to have. I don't think privatization is going to be able to mean that for me. Depending on how the government does it, if it's a PPP, it still may be run like a mom and pop shop. Because they bring in significant revenue for the country and significant relationships still fuel this country. Can I say it like that? Praise Jesus. I can't even get no amen. Let me see if I can read a couple more of these texts before we get out of here. So it says, Howard, all the PLP is busy cutting a deal with the BPL so that they could end up owning the shares and getting their, I don't know if this is the case. There's a text that's coming through. Y'all don't fight me for that. So it says majority rule has failed Black Bahamians. And so it's time for us to try something different. Mr. Prime Minister, please listen to me. If you don't listen to anyone, it's time for us to tell the Bahamian people the truth. And it will hurt, but it will be the truth. It's time to face reality. The Bahamas is in a downward spiral. Bahamian leadership seems to be Negroes trapped in a white mindset. Think about it. Why do poor countries stay poor? You can get the answer by studying Bahamian leadership. As the text is coming through, that's a lot. Y'all doing a lot, right? It's called WTO, Unions Just Scared That the New Company Won't Allow the Unions. It's called WTO. There's the information that's coming in. Guys, I want to thank you guys so very kindly about these things and affording us an opportunity. I think that we're at a new space in the country. I think we are at a space and a place that we can be able to identify that it's inevitable for us to step into change. But it's hard because we've had so much responsibility to be able to shoulder the entire time. We got to fix this, guys. We got to fix this. want to thank you for your contribution. I want to see you tomorrow right here as we have a panel discussion on the foundation. Have a beautiful day. Enjoy yourself. Be safe. I'll see you tomorrow. Godspeed, guys.
Foundation.